Good day. This is the arena of KAFTAN Television, Abuja. As usual, my name is Pius, Awunah. You can agree with me that the administration of justice in Nigeria is very slow. You have cases pending years in law court before getting them addressed. Today, we are going to be looking at the delay in the administration of justice in Nigeria and the way out. I have with me a lawyer, but you will meet him after the break. Welcome back from the break. Delay in the administration of justice in Nigeria and the way out is our topic for today's discussion. And with me in the studio is Barrister Chidiebere Nwachukwu. I don't know whether I'm correct. You're welcome on the program, sir.
Thank you.
Barrister Chidiebere Nwachukwu. Very correct.
Very correct. Thank
Barrister, you can agree with me. The administration of justice in Nigeria is very, very slow. You have cases in court that spent years, like the case of Zaki. I believe you remember the case, spent almost 4 years. We have another case of Dasuki and a lot of other cases. Years, more than 3 years, even 4 years. We have cases that started during the last administration that are still going on. What exactly is the problem? But first, would you agree with me that yes, our justice system is very slow?
Yes, I will agree with you. Quite all right. The problem about the administration of justice system is not just limited to criminal justice system. It also encompasses the whole justice system in general. And when you look at the justice system, it doesn't have to do with the aspect that you see in court. Now, the justice system encompasses from the passage of the law, from the making of the administrative orders that constitute crimes or infractions, from the point of reporting to a lawyer in the lawyer's office, assuming there is an infraction between fellow citizens, from the point of arrest of a citizen for a crime or alleged crime, from that to the stage where the final judgment is given, beyond that to the stage where you enforce that judgment, or the sentence is carried out, depending on which way it is. So whether it's criminal or whether it's civil. Hence, when we talk about administration of justice, it doesn't just have to do with the criminal aspect of it. Like, when you're starting statement, you made mention of these cases, and I feel that basically criminal cases.
Yes.
So the institutions that play a role, the laws that govern the justice system, the institutions that and the personnel that play vital roles are, and also the court system itself, and even the enforcement itself. All these things come together to constitute the justice system.
So let's now look at what exactly are the causes for this delay.
Yeah, so the delays, the causes, there are a lot of causes, a lot of factors that causes these delays in the administration of justice. Now, let me start from the point where an infraction or a wrong is done or committed, depending on which aspect you are looking at. Now, let me go through the criminal justice system from the point where the law is passed. The process of passing the law that is in tune with the society, with the demands of the society, that is also aiming to capture the mischief or correct a mischief which the society is facing at a particular point in time. From that time, from the time of passing it at the National Assembly, there was the procedure of passing it, of passage in the National Assembly, to the point where the police are now empowered to enforce this aspect of the law that has been passed. So if you're going to talk about the causes, you're going to be looking at factors like inadequacy of the personnel enforcing the laws. For example, in our society today, in Nigeria today, you agree with me that in other countries you see where police officers are being measured per number of people. You say, okay, 1 police officer to 1,000 persons. In Nigeria, I don't think we'll have up to 1 million police officers. We don't even have
up to 500,000.
Up to 500,000. Or let me say, okay, let's just be generous. Let's say 700,000.
Which is not even up to that.
Yes. So when you do 700,000, and you're looking at about 120 million people. Now check the ratio. You see that a police officer is handling more than 2,000-3,000 persons, controlling 2,000-3,000 persons. Now in the same police officers that we have, you now know the majority of these police officers are with VIPs. You see one VIP being gathered by 5 police officers. Now, these police officers, the ones that are left to protect I and you, are left in the streets without adequate support. In terms of their remuneration is poor. The equipment they use are outdated. They are out.
Is that something applicable to justice system?
Yeah, I'm coming to that.
Yes.
So I'm coming to that. So when you look at these factors, that ordinarily, so when a crime is committed, you call a police officer, let me say, okay, let's even check our normal emergency lines. The emergency lines don't work. Sometimes when they even work, the people who are answering you are not even properly trained, and they don't even know what they're supposed to ask, the response to give. Then when there's also a proper response, then you not response in terms of the core conversation.
Yes.
Then you talk about the response to the crime or to the place where the incident is taking place. Then you talk about the arrest. You see police officers who don't even know how to enforce an arrest. You see police officers who, like this, the recent issues, we are seeing people arresting people because they have dreadlocks, and you say, bring your phone, let me search you, and all that. You don't have some of those things. Police officers are not trained on how to do these things. Now, at the point of arrest, they're taken to the police station. In the police station, some of them are beaten up for you to extract information from them. Sometimes crimes are committed. Other people, you see them arresting people by proxy. For example, you say, this boy ran away, so let's go and arrest the mother. When we arrest the mother, the son will come out. So these are the things. These are problems. Arrest by proxy. They have talked about the inadequacy.
And constitutionally, is that right?
No, it is not. That's the point. So, but the police will know this when they are trained, and when also they are properly remunerated. So, like now, I've said like 4 factors, which is issue of inadequacy of personnel, facilities that they don't have, which is number 2, then lack of proper training of police officers. When I'm talking about police, let me use law enforcement officers, because you're looking at custom, you're looking at NAFDAC, you're looking at civil defense, you're looking at DSS, you're looking at
and the rest.
Immigration, you're looking at all the whole paramilitary or enforcement agencies that we have. So these people are not properly remunerated, they're not equipped. They're not also trained on the rudiments of their jobs. When somebody is not properly remunerated, I can go to an arrest and I see somebody splashes $10,000. I was like, okay, Oga, you can go. So these are things that are factors that affect justice system. Now let's go to issue of the courts. Now let's assume that this person is brought to court, an arrest has been done, the person is brought to court, or let me say, I have a case against you, and I go and consult a lawyer. The lawyer say, okay, let's go to court. Now, what is the attitude of the lawyer? What is the state of our judicial system? You also have judicial officers who are not properly remunerated. You have courts that are still writing in longhand in 2022. If you go to countries, they use stenographers. They record proceedings so that the judge doesn't have to start writing. But you don't have officers that are specialized in this aspect. The judge have to write with his hand. Sometimes some of them develop arthritis. Somebody writes for 6 hours, 7 hours. You know, proceeding, and you know that a proceeding can take up, just a single proceeding can take up 6 hours. Now, the number of judges that are there, we don't have enough of them. How many judges do we have in FCT? How many million people do we have in FCT as of today? Let's talk about Lagos. How many courtrooms do we have? We don't have enough courtrooms to handle people's complaints. We don't have enough staff that will support staff that will support these judges. We don't have enough people who are doing research for them. So, inadequacy of courtrooms, inadequacy of judges. Also, you look at also the appointment into both the judicial officers and also, when I mean judicial officers, I mean like court staff, registrars and all that. The procedure for appointment, procedure for employment. Now, the issue of allowing these procedures to be influenced by a few is also another problem. A judge who is literally given that position on a platter will not take the job serious because he feels like I didn't do anything to get to this point. So there must be transparency. There's lack of transparency in the procedure for appointment of judges. There's lack of transparency for the procedure and even appointment of employment of judicial officers. So I've also mentioned now another factor, which is inadequacy of courtrooms. Number of judges are also have
favoritism in the appointment of judges.
Appointment, yes, that's the procedure. The lack of transparency in the appointment.
You talk more on the judges, inadequacy of trained staff and all that. I want you to now talk about your own colleagues, the lawyers.
No, I'm coming to that.
Yes.
I'm coming to that. I'm just giving you how this thing works.
Very good.
Then you now talk about the lawyers. Now, you have this idea, which also the NBA, I must also commend the current NBA executive, is also fighting against the attitude of lawyers. You see lawyers who come to court unprepared. And the point is that, which is also why I talk about when there's a systemic problem. Because the Legal Practitioners Act, the RPC, which is the Rules of Professional Conduct for Lawyers, also provide for penalties that can be meted on any lawyer who engages in any of these things. For example, you see issues of ordinarily our rules provides that for me to handle a case, I must be well prepared for that case. It is immaterial whether someone asks me to go and handle it or not on his behalf. So if you're given a brief, you are properly briefed. So you see lawyers coming to court and saying, my lord, I'm so sorry, this matter we were just briefed. My colleague wasn't around, he traveled or he lost somebody, he asked me to come and handle this case for him. I'll not be able to do it, I will want to take a date. These are the factors that causes delays. But the rule said that for you to handle any brief, that means for you to take that file and come to court, they are properly briefed and you must handle that case. Then you see issues of people coming up and saying they probably are not paid well from their clients or for whatever reason. They write letters to court telling the court, I will not be able to make it because I lost someone, I'm feeling sick and all that. Some people come to court and tell you that I had a problem, or they won't come to court. They will say, they had a flat tire on the way to court and all those issues. So there's also a part of the lawyers, a very major part that lawyers play. Role that lawyers play. Then you have somebody, probably you got an injunction to restrict someone from doing an action. So before you get that injunction, you start delaying the process. Today you come in, give one excuse for an adjournment or the other, so that you'll be able, because you now feel that your client is in a better position, then you can now frustrate the system.
Yes, I witnessed one talking about the delay on the side of the lawyers. I witnessed one where a lawyer came to court and told the judge to please grant him 30 minutes for his client to park her car before she can come into the courtroom. So I know that should be part of the delay too.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, the judge said, no, I can't do that in my court. Yes. Now, you have said a lot about the delay things that
No,
constitute.
I'm not even done. I think there's also some part of it also. Now,
very good. So go ahead.
On the issue of delay.
Let's hear more.
Now, aside the one that are orchestrated by lawyers, there are also ones that are orchestrated by enforcement agencies.
Okay.
For example, you see a case is going to come up because of the inadequacy of preparedness for a case. You see emergencies like EFCC police coming to court, a date that a matter is slated for hearing. They say, oh my lord, we are not ready. Because of they hurriedly file the matter without preparing the evidence. In advanced countries.
That means like an investigation before
yes,
bringing the
in
matter
advanced
to court.
countries, investigations are concluded.
Yes.
Before you bring the person in, immediately you're bringing the person, you're charging the person. You can just look at this Mother's case. It has been taken to court immediately. It didn't take so much time. Then you have to put him for another 7 months, 3 months, 8 months before you say you charge him to court. So here, they first arrest you and start investigating. That is not the proper way to do things. Then also, before you file a matter in court, especially for these prosecutorial agencies like police, EFCC, ICPC, NAFDAC, NDLEA, you must prepare your case. You don't come to court and you tell the court that you're not ready. Then the man is sleeping in jail.
In jail, yes.
For some people stay awaiting trial for 10 months. Some stay 2 years awaiting trial. What it means is that their matter has never even been caught.
So even 3 years, I've seen cases like
you
that.
see that kind of thing. So now in that instance, assuming that man is innocent, he has stayed there, wasted even 2 days or even a day or 24 hours, even 1 hour in the prisons. It's totally against his rights. So there is also this lack of preparedness and ineptitude on the side of prosecutorial agencies that needs to change. So as a fact also, this is also one of them. Now when you talk about post-court procedures, for example, enforcement of judgment, you ordinarily upon pronouncement, that judgment is supposed to start taking effect immediately. You have administrative bureaucracy that you're going to pass through for you to enforce a judgment. For example, you get a judgment of 3 million naira. The person frustrates you. You go, some of them that you get against the federal government's, you have to get some of them, you have to go through that Nigerian's office. They frustrate you before you get judgment. You get the process of your judgment. Then in terms of the criminal aspect of it, someone is convicted for an offense. Probably you say, oh, the person needs to be remanded in a particular facility. Then you check also what is in the facility that the person is being remanded in. The sense of putting people in facilities is correctional. Are they being corrected? No. You go to other countries, you see people learning from prison. Some people getting degrees in prison.
Yes.
Some people learning trades in prison. When they come back into the society, they are integrated into the society, better persons. For example, somebody who has the tendency to do a particular thing, probably because of poverty or probably because of whatever disposition that he was involved in before he got into that crime. When he gets into a place where he's not being corrected after conviction, for example, if you say you're going to spend 10 years imprisonment, within that 10 years, the system is supposed to make that person productive enough,
yes,
change enough, orientation change, so that when the time the person is reintegrated into the society after 10 years, the person contributes meaningfully to the society than the person going back and committing more crimes. Some of them even stay in the prisons and living.
Now, you mentioned an issue. I want us to look at it quickly. You say some people spend, like, let's say 3 years, and while they're innocent, maybe at the end of the day, when the case,
awaiting trial.
Very good, awaiting trial, and at the end of the day, what's in the situation where after the trial, then they are found not guilty. In that situation, they have already spent 3 years or 2 years or even more. How can an issue like that be addressed? Can it be compensated?
No, there's no room for compensation. That's the problem. So the justice system is dishing out injustice in its own system. So that's what it means. The person goes back home
awaiting trial.
Nothing.
In
He gets
prison
nothing.
for those 3 years or even more. And at the end of the day, the case against you, you are found not guilty, and then nothing will be done about the 3 years or the years you spend in prison.
Nothing. I'm telling you, absolutely nothing is going to happen.
There is no place in Constitution, Nigeria Constitution, that says in situation like that, the person should be compensated?
No, because the system, if there's any law like that, the law is trying to also indict itself.
That is serious.
So it's because the system is bad. Ordinarily, that man's supposed to stay maybe a month or two, facing his trial, and he'll be acquitted and he goes home.
Another aspect of it that somebody may like to know, what if at the end of the day you are guilty and you have to spend 3 years in prison and you have already spent those 3 years?
Yeah, in that instance,
go ahead to
no. In
in
that instance, and from decided cases, and from the attitude of our courts,
yes,
the person is allowed to go, because those is the period of incarceration we put into consideration. So in that instance, I think I've not seen I've never heard or seen or read about anywhere where something like that happened. And if anything like that happens, the person can actually take it up, and I think he will get compensated for that. Yeah, but the issue of someone staying in prison for like a long time and this, you get to court every day, you see it. Some of them start crying and all that because they've wasted a lot of their time in prison. It's a terrible situation.
Well, I still want to also talk more about this before we move to the next stage of this.
Yeah.
What if the person who has already spent many years in prison and at the end of the day he was not guilty, discharged and acquitted? Is there any provision for him in the law to file a case against the state and get compensation?
Ordinarily, under Section 6, he has a right.
Yes.
To litigate on any matter that he feels not comfortable with and he feels that his rights has been impeded on. But the point is that, do you think that a system that knows the inherent delays associated with it will grant such a person any compensation? I don't think so. It is not. It will be an indictment on the system itself. But I'm not trying to say that cannot be done. For example, if I have such a situation, I will also ask my client that we can go to court. And I think also that sometimes, especially when you see that those things are not caused generally by the court itself, maybe from these associated agencies within the institutions within the criminal justice system, a judge, I don't think that most of our judges or some of our judges will close their eyes to granting such a person compensation. In advanced countries, these are things that you get. You have that kind of delay, you sue the system. They don't even want you to sue. Immediately you bring it up, they want to compensate you because they have a reputation to keep. But yeah, the system doesn't even have a reputation. So what are you trying to keep? So
basically, from all that you have said, the issue of delay of the administration of justice is almost everybody in that system is responsible.
Yes, it starts from the time that a bill is proposed. You also have issues that whole lot of issues associated with the justice system. You have some laws that are dated that the National Assembly needs to amend them, update them to this current realities in the society.
Like, can you point out to any of the law,
for example,
yes.
The NBA pushed as at 2013 or thereabout, pushed for the issue of administration of criminal justice reform, and after that, it gave birth to this administration of criminal justice act, ACJA, that we use now. But you can see that some of the states are yet to pass them into law. They're still relying on 1960 something pre-independence procedural act. Mostly they're not. You look at the Child Rights Act that everybody is advocating for. You see some states that have not even been able to pass it. And they're relying on things that were passed during the colonial era. So there are a whole lot of laws that we have that are not in tandem with today's. If, for example, look at our Evidence Act. When was it amended? Computers has been here since 1970 something. It was in 2011 that we amended the Evidence Act to reflect the issues of computer-generated evidence. So my point is that laws must reflect today's reality in the society, in the Nigerian society. And so when you talk about these delays, it starts from that point of people who have the responsibility to do this. That's what is called review of laws. You gather, a National Assembly can constitute a committee of lawyers, a committee of people who are in the justice system. Tell them, get all these laws that we need. Get all these laws that are dated. You bring it, we just pass it. You give it to experts, you pay them. Or even, some of them can even volunteer to do it for them, do it for free. But you get all these things. You pass it, it doesn't follow all those procedures, all those rigorous procedures. Not that the procedures will be suspended, but at least it's just to bring these things to reality. Our KAMA was just amended 2020. It was in that place for more than 4 years. We're using 1990 Act. So my point is that from that point where the law is passed to the point where the person gets the process of his judgment or serves his sentence and reintegrated into the society. In fact, to the point of reintegration into the society, as well as for criminal, or to the point where the person takes process of his judgment, there are a lot of delays. And these delays is fighting against the system itself. Because if a society where you know that you can get justice, it's an attraction for investment. When you're drafting when somebody, some of us, some lawyers, when you are drafting some international contracts that have international elements in it, they don't want to do anything with the Nigerian system. They tell you that the law that will guide the contract is a foreign law. They will choose one law. So they go even as close as South Africa. So they start choosing the Ghanaian system. So they'll tell you because they don't have any hope.
But I think in a situation like this, the lawyers, they have a role to play here, whereby they can, officially write to the concerned authorities, like let's say the legislature, the arms of government. You can even write to the presidency, which is to the executive, that there's a need for this.
To be amended.
Yes, so that they can, especially like the issue you just raised about when there's a contract, international contract, they prefer using even South Africa or Ghana because of their system of the law. So can something like that be done and see how we can update this issue?
I can tell you that the NBA, after every conference, sends a memorandum to the National Assembly, to the Justice Minister, to the Presidency. Sometimes after some section conferences, like we have sections on business law, we have sections on this same criminal justice, we have sections on procedural laws, we have sections on different aspects of NBA, and these sections usually have their yearly conferences, and after the yearly conference, a communique is released and is sent to different arms of government for proper implementation. These things don't happen. So I'm not saying that, no, we are doing enough, no. But we keep on doing it.
Yes.
Then we keep on doing it, keep on pushing for it. Sometimes also, you see that, not like when they are doing sometimes some laws, NBA's opinion are asked by National Assembly. But we are saying that we need to call this thing, we need to declare state of emergency in this, because it's affecting everything. Do you know why people take laws into their hands? You see every day, this people, they caught thieves, they burnt them. You know why those things happen? Because people have lost hope in the judicial system.
There's no wonder the another justice delayed is justice denied.
Yes. So they feel like, what are we going to do? You saw what happened in Alo. So, if you go and send this to police, they will say that they will come and bribe and they will go out and do those things. So corruption is also another thing, another factor that also delays justice system, both from the point of arrest, the court system, to the enforcement system. So my point is that this is something that's supposed to be a state of emergency on. All stakeholders, all institutions must be intentional about changing this, because it's affecting us. It's not just affecting us because it's affecting you, it's affecting me. It's also affecting our perception, the perception.
Somebody said government itself is a factor that, is responsible for the delay in the administration of justice in Nigeria. And I would like you to talk about that, but wait, we are going on a break. After the break, then we'll discuss that and other issues regarding the delay in the administration of justice in Nigeria. We're going on a break, don't go anywhere. We'll come back from the break and continue from here. Welcome back from the break. Don't forget, we are looking at delay in the administration of justice in Nigeria and the way out. I have with me in the studio Barrister Chidiebere Nwachukwu. Before going on the break, we're looking at the delay, some of these issues that are responsible for the delay of the administration of justice in Nigeria. And the last issue that I mentioned was that of the government itself being responsible for this delay. Let me give you an example. Somebody says sometime when the issue, a particular judge that is looking at the issue in court, you found out that this judge is being transferred from that court to another court, and that also is the reason why some of these cases, they stay for years before being addressed. And can you explain more to, about that particular aspect?
Yeah, okay, so first of all, let me look at when you said government's role. The institutions that are around the justice system are all part of government.
Yes.
So government is the major. I think the only place or the only persons that are out of government are basically private legal practitioners. So every other person I've mentioned are basically government. So it squarely rests on government. So
okay. Let me push this question in this way. But do you look at this political interference as also another reason for that, apart from even the agency of government that you have mentioned?
Now, to save you from this whole thing, I think he basically the major issue there is the independence of judiciary.
Yes.
Now, when the argument that we have put forward is the independence of judiciary must not just be something that you have any appendage to in terms of finance, in terms of appointment, in terms of regulation. If the judiciary is independent in this aspect, you will not have these interferences that you're talking about. Now, if I know that my appointment as a judge does not have anything to do with my state governor, does not have anything to do with the minister of FCT, does not have anything to do with Asorok, when I'm going in there, I will not mind whether the person that is standing before me as for trial is from APC, PDP, UPP, whichever party that you want to call it.
But I think the judicial system is the one that produces, or rather recommends candidate for appointment.
That is the point. Now it goes also to the issue of separation of the office of the Attorney General and the Minister of Justice and the Attorney General. Now, what we are talking about independence, that's why I want to look at that fact, that concept of independence of judiciary. This judiciary does not have to do with just the judges can appoint any person they want within themselves. No. It must also not be devoid of any influence. Influence that somebody from Asorok calls the head of a particular unit, or somebody from the state house of a state calls the head of a judicial arm. Say, I want this person to be here. I want this person to be here. When I'm also seeing that as a chief judge of the federation, as a chief judge of a state, I don't need, my money is already, the money for the judiciary has already been mapped out by operation of law, not by what the presidency decides, not by what the National Assembly decides, but by a law that says that this particular percentage goes to these people. So you now know, and this money goes straight to this judicial arm. The issues of appointment also, I don't have to. The Minister of Justice doesn't have any power to tell me. If not, like in some states, you see judges, governors buying jeeps for judges. I can't buy a jeep for you, and they have a case against me. Somebody takes the state government to court, and you want to give injunction, or you want to restrict, or you want to do any judgment, give any judgment that will be against my interests. So for us, these are aspects of interference. These are factors that affect the independence of judiciary. The independence of judiciary must be seen as clear and independent, both in accounts, both in finance. With that, this issue that you're talking about, the judge will not care. I will not delay the matter because I don't care whether you're from any party. Because I didn't have any, for my appointment, my payment does not have anything to do with your party. And when I see that if I give a judgment against you, you will reduce the number of staff that I have, or you say you're not going to pay them. So you see how the independence of judiciary, it must not just be in the concept of, oh, we have their money, they control how they spend it. But they need to also control. There must be a law that you don't have as an executive. You don't have power to influence what comes to me as an arm of government. And I have also, with my own NJC or SJC, as the case may be, we have to decide what we do with the monies that comes to us. We have to decide the number of support staff that we have. So by the time this independence of judiciary is not just implemented in all ramifications, you will see that these matters that you just mentioned, these issues of a particular, like political cases, where because of delay, somebody that is supposed to represent, let me say, represent a particular constituency, let's say FCT. Somebody stays there, he wins the election, probably he rigs his way inside into this is and gives him certificate. He goes to the National Assembly. He stays there. I go to court. Maybe I'm the person that is the second runner-up. They've runner-up. I now go there. I start going to court. In the next 3 years, my matter is still in court. On the 4th year that he's going to leave the office, that's the time that the court is giving me judgment. So you see also, when we talk about how we can mitigate these factors, that's when I can now give you solutions on how to stop these things from happening.
Okay, let's go straight to the way out.
Now,
what do we need to do to address this so that we cannot be having this delay, so that we cannot be having these shortcomings?
Okay. Now, let me start also because I start chronologically on how the system works.
Yes.
So first of all, our security personnel must not only be adequately remunerated, their facilities and all the paraphernalia that they need in order to carry out their duties must be provided for. There must be proper meritorious recruitment. You don't take somebody who does not probably, in fact, if he can bear me witness, you understand that there is this aspect of police that is left now for people who probably they feel like there is nothing that not useful anymore. So go to the police, let's push into police force. That's the kind of system we're producing. Any job seeker doesn't want to go to police. But
that was then. Now the unemployed youth, people are just looking for anywhere there's opportunity, let them go. They are even buying the jobs.
Good.
Yes.
Now the people who
only those who they have let me say a backbone that is well to do. Talking about backbone, have families that are well to do, that they can push them to work to CBM, to NMPC, and any other good place that they would not like to go to police.
That's the
point.
But
a lot of unemployed youth, they are just looking for anywhere there's opportunity, let them to go there.
So now if we do, let's say, this year, we have 1,000 graduates from across the universities in Nigeria. They are pushing for majority of them, I will tell you that 90% of them are thinking of CBN, NMPC, NCC, all these organizations. So nobody's thinking of police. But this used to be, or in other countries, is a very respected profession.
Of course, when I see the way police in other countries act, I wish to be a police officer.
Yes, but they're not here. So my point is that if they're properly remunerated, and the remuneration and the employment is also based on merit, then in that instance, you now know that the crop you're getting are no longer those people that want to search you to get your phone, that see you that, oh, you're putting on dress, they want to search and say, oh, you're a Yahoo boy. They don't want to just arrest you. They want to get evidence before they arrest you.
Yes.
They will not do their work, they are just professionally. So now we must, for us to correct this, the police must be properly remunerated, not just police. When I say police, I'm talking about enforcement agencies.
Yes.
They must be properly remunerated. They must have the facilities and the paraphernalia to be able to handle their day-to-day duties. Then you now talk about the issue of you come now to court, because when they are properly remunerated, trained, they'll be able to handle that aspect. So the issues of not proper lack of inadequate investigations before charging to court will reduce by 90%. Issues of investigating properly before arrest comes into place. Issues of arresting somebody today and charging the person the next day to court now will start happening. So in that aspect, you will see issues of delaying or just keeping people in prison, beating people up, holding charges will stop. Issues of people who feel that they are big in the society just to use police to intimidate people will stop. Now, so with that, you have solved almost 20% of the delays in the justice system. Now, when it comes to the court itself, the judges must be properly remunerated. A judge will think of corruption when he has a son in a university and he cannot afford to pay 2 million naira for his son's school because his salary is 400 or 500,000. You must also provide them adequate security. The type of job they do needs a security. A drug baron will want to shoot every judge that is handling his case, so that he will not go to jail. So you need to also protect them adequately. Then the facilities that they need must also be provided for. I don't want to mention the recent incident that happened at the Supreme Court. I don't know if you're aware of it, but some justices of the Supreme Court wrote before the retirement of the former CJN, wrote to the CJN, complained that they don't have light. The Supreme Court of Nigeria, they don't have light to work with. They are not getting trainings. Some of their quarters are not available for them to use.
The issue of light, even in the presidency, sometimes they don't have light there. Because you go there, you see generators, big ones that they use there, so you know.
No, at least they have generators. Of course. These ones, the generators are not even turning on for the justices to write their judgments.
Yes, so I understand that.
So my point is that they must also be properly remunerated.
Yes, it's true.
Also trained and retrained. Some of our justices don't know how to use computer.
Yes.
They need to also be trained into these things because the world is evolving, the world is changing. Some of them don't know how to handle electronically generated evidence. For example, if you're talking about election now that we're using BVAS, if I'm talking about, I uploaded this result in the server, or there was a back-end infiltration of the server, you need to demonstrate this thing before a judge for him to understand that what you're talking about. When you're talking about back-end infiltration, or the server was compromised, there are some things that needs to show, and that this server was compromised from this network or from here. You must demonstrate this thing for a judge to understand that the judge must be in tune with the reality, must be in tune with the technology. And if he's not trained in that kind of thing, he will not be able to understand the jargons you're talking about. So it's not just about remuneration of judges and justices properly. It also has to do with providing them with adequate facilities and paraphernalia to do their jobs.
I want us to look at this. What's the body that is responsible in appointing judges? If we are to look at the independence of judiciary, which body should now appoint judges, and look at the other appointment in the court?
The NJC is the body responsible. They've been doing that duty. But what we are saying is that because of these interferences, because of these factors, there is interference in this system. That system must be made to be transparent. Before you recruit judges or justices, you do publication. And not just for the sake of doing publication like we see in the normal contracts in Nigeria.
Yes.
You do publication, let prospective, qualified personnel apply. When they apply, let it be based on merit. So when these things are done transparently, so when we talk about reforms in this justice system, there must also be that conviction within us to be able to effect the changes. So the idea of a justice appointing or allowing his daughter or his son, who is not qualified, has not even practiced law, to be a judge, I have to go. It must be based on merit. If she or he is qualified properly, let him go in. There must be an independent bodies that are appointed to handle this recruitment, so that any person that is going there will not know that he's appointed or he got that job without any influence. He can be able to carry out his duties without fear or favor.
Let me divert a little. If someone wants to go to court, must the person pass through a lawyer? Is there any way that a citizen can go to court without the assistance of a lawyer?
Yep.
Be there to support him or her?
Very well.
How
you
can
go to court, fill out a form. For example, depending on the type, there are some courts you cannot go without a lawyer.
Okay.
For example, the High Court. But for normal issues between I and you, maybe issues that has to do with maybe below 5 million there, but I can go to an ordinary magistrate court, fill out a plaint. The registrars will help, serve it on the person comes to court. The person also decides not to come with a lawyer. So he goes in, he represents himself, he answers, the judge puts questions to him or her, he answers those questions. Now, the only disadvantage that has to do with it is that there are issues that you not knowing. For example, I'll give you an example. Let me say we're having issues, you're my tenant, and you've not paid.
Yes.
I take you to court, I didn't get any lawyer. Right?
Yes.
I take you to court, I say, oh, your rent expired, you need to leave. And you said, yes, my rent expired, but I paid in 10,000. My rent is remaining, I just paid in 10,000 last month. My rent is remaining 180,000. 190,000, make it 200,000 for the year. The man said, I don't want this thing. In that instance, ordinarily the law says before you tell the man to leave, you have to serve him notice. And you, because you're ignorant of the law, on the procedure,
yes,
you will not serve that person. I will not serve you those notices that the law provides for before I can be able to bring it to court. So when you go to court, irrespective of the fact that the man is telling you that, oh, I've done this, the law says he must be served notice. The judge looks at it and says, okay, Mr. B, you've not served this man notice. The law says you have to serve him notice. So I start this matter out, you have to go and serve him notice and you come back. So in that instance, because you did not get the advice of a lawyer or the guidance of a lawyer,
yes,
you have also contributed to the issue of
delay.
You understand? So
yes,
so I'm not saying that someone cannot go.
Okay.
If you go to some customary courts, some Sharia courts, you will see people representing themselves. But most times we advise that you get a lawyer. And also, remuneration of payment for lawyers are also graded. You can actually get services at a very cheap rate.
Yes.
You can. There is no fixed rate for lawyers to take. Some of us can also say, oh, because this person doesn't have money, I'm going to represent the person free. So my point is that I will advise any person that if you have a case, just consult a lawyer. It is better for you. If you can't afford the lawyer, look for another lawyer. You must get a lawyer that will be able to take that small money, or even if you don't have enough money, you can explain to a lawyer and the lawyer would present you without taking money. I know a lot of lawyers that are doing a lot of cases in
Yes,
that,
and I've known some too. Let's look at this. Of course, this is part of, or rather one of the things that I can say is responsible for the delay in the administration of justice. You see some lawyers who are very aware that their clients are actually guilty. So they begin to do things that are, not even, can I say, properly.
Professional.
To make sure they twist the cover of the truth, to make sure their client escape justice. And then at the end of the day, the person who should be giving the right, justice will end up losing out. I really want to, and I believe other people too like to know why some of you lawyers, I'm not saying you in particular, but some, why do they like defending those who are really who perpetrated evil
in the society?
Why do they like defending them, making those who are innocent to lose out? I know, basically somebody says because of money, but apart from the money, the monetary aspect of it, why lawyers like defending the evil ones in the society? And I believe by doing so, it's one of the things that causes a delay. Because if you want to say the truth, if you are aware of any issue that happened, I notice it's something that I have discovered. If you are speaking the truth about something, you will not lack what to say. You flow. But when you are lying, you are thinking of what to say. And that is why you end up, contradicting yourself. At point A, you agree with this. Point B, you disagree. No one is even questioning you. And I've seen that in court. That is why I'm telling you, because I've been in court. I saw how lawyers argue. Because of the fact that they are defending what is not the truth. And they are trying to make it look in the eyes of people that this is the reality, this is the truth. Then you see them saying things that at the end of the day, they contradict themselves to disagree with this and that. Can you share your opinion on that?
Okay, first of all, let me be a little bit, let me be a little bit theoretical.
Yes.
Now, when you talk about the truth, I'm just going to say this, and I'll be as sincere as I can on it. When you talk about the truth, for us, the truth is what it is. The truth stands. Nothing changes it. Now, most times, to find out what the truth is, the court is actually not the place to do it. I'll give you an example. Now, in philosophy, we are taught that the truth is unchanging and it stands on its own. There is no skirmish that is attached to it. And it doesn't change whether it goes to another society, another condition, circumstance. It is what it is as a concept. Now, when you now talk about the law and justice, because of the system, how the law operates, you basically may not get that truth standing as it were in the courtroom. Now, let me just use a simple example. The law says that for you to commit a crime, there must be actus reus and there must be mens rea. Actus reus means the evil act. Mens rea must be the evil intention, the evil mind. I'll give you an example. A thief walks in here. This is the house. You're the father of the house. They start knocking on the door. Maybe I as your child will rush and say, "Oh, daddy, that thief's here." You know, say, "Oh, don't tell him I'm here. Let me climb into the ceiling." You climb into that ceiling, and the thief comes in, breaks into the door, like, "Where's your dad? Where's your father?" Let him come out. Does he think that this thing I'm holding here is not a gun? This is a gun. For me to tell you that it's a gun, let me shoot it. You do it. It is a shot into the air or on top of the ceiling, and the father drops.
Was not aware that somebody was in there.
Yes. So for you, the man has committed a crime of murder. He needs to be, he needs to go to the gallows. He needs to be killed. Because when you kill, also you be killed. So that's what the society carries out. Tomorrow the man is sentenced to life imprisonment. You're like, no, he's supposed to be killed. In that instance, the law looks at it. Did the man, at the time of killing this person, was there an intention on his part to kill? No. But he came into the place with a gun.
He was not having intention. Why did he come with a gun in the first place?
No, but carrying the gun does not mean that you have intention to do it. So my point is that, you see, what you're arguing now, right? But I'm arguing the other way around. Yes, the man came with a gun. He never tried to kill any person. He even told the children that he wants to test the gun. And lo and behold, somebody died. So he's not going to die for it. There was no intention to shoot. If the man was there, he wouldn't have shot him. He just wanted to use the gun to scare them. So my point is, in that instance, two people can leave that courtroom and say, oh, this judge has been compromised. This lawyer is lying. This lawyer is saying the truth. That's the perception. Three people goes out. Three people goes out of that courtroom with three different perceptions about what has transpired in that instance. So that is about that one. I'm just trying to tell you that sometimes, for us as a society, the man killed somebody. He's supposed to go in for it. He's supposed to be killed. But the law is saying no, he cannot be killed because he did not know that somebody was there. There was no intention to kill somebody, even though he did.
People would like to know more about this example you just gave. But even if he just wanted to test the gun and somebody dies in that process, but if he cannot be charged for murder, but can he be punished?
Of course, he'll be punished. That's manslaughter. He can be punished. But I'm just trying to tell you that, let's see if you use that. Let's say that the penalty for killing without intention is not manslaughter. The man might be, maybe it's another thing that doesn't have to do with death, but something else. The man walks out of the street. You now start saying, oh, the judge has been compromised. The lawyer is lying. So my point is that sometimes the lawyer does not lie. The lawyer looks at those things within the law. For example, the law says that, oh, if I steal, I remain here. If I take your thing or hide your thing without intention, without moving it, there are 4 ingredients that must be present for you to say that they're stealing. If any of those ingredients are not there, you did not steal anything.
Time is really against us. I want you to briefly, now your kind of advice. You have said a lot, starting from the delay,
yes,
justice, the factors, the reasons, the causes of all that, and then we bring in another issue of how can somebody go without getting a lawyer, and all this and that. So we have said a lot about this, and now I want you to briefly give your own last word about all the issues that we have discussed in form of advice. What would you advise the government to do in order to ensure that we have a better judicial system whereby the justice can be delivered quickly in order to avoid spending years before getting issues addressed in court?
Okay, so I'll go with that. My advice is there's supposed to be a state of emergency declared in the justice system by the government, yes, with the intention to make proper reforms. Issues of remuneration of judges, issues of proper remuneration for security agencies, issues of equipping the courts with modern day technology, and the NBA factor, NBA trying to also ensuring that lawyers who delay or who give excuses that are not warranted are also punished for that. Issues of security agencies doing their part of their job after they are being remunerated properly. Issues of independence of judiciary. Issues of proper finance for the judiciary. Issues of stopping or avoidance of strike actions by judicial officers.
Yes.
That's also another factor. Most times government reach an agreement with these officers and they don't obey it.
Thank you very much. I want to ask a funny question. I've had people talking about charge and pay lawyer. I have opportunity to have a lawyer on my program. Is that professional? Is there anything charge and pay lawyer?
It's not. That's just
people just give it names because
people just say that. There is no charge and pay lawyer. Every lawyer is a proper lawyer, properly so called.
Okay, that is good. Honestly, nice having you on the program. I believe next time I will call you again to discuss another issue as regards the law. You honor our invitation. Thank you very much.
Thank
you. I've been speaking on delay in the administration of justice in Nigeria and the way out. And Barrister Chidiebere Nwachukwu has been my guest on the program. Thank you very much for always watching the arena on KAFTAN television. My name remains Pius. I want to join us same time next week and same station for another interesting edition of the arena. Bye.